Dear ladies and gentlemen, the title of my presentation, From Theory to Biotechnology and Clinical Practice, the world's first integrated protocol for the microbiome-gut-brain axis, 1993-2002, a forgotten pioneering system ahead of its time. In recent decades, the role of the microbiome in the pathogenesis and therapy of chronic diseases has attracted increasing scientific attention, especially in the context of the gut-brain axis concept. However, the systematic study of human microbiota and its central role in maintaining health began much earlier. While the first human microbiome project was initiated only 2007, and the term gut-brain axis became common in the 2010s, our practical work was already in full swing in the early 1990s. This was a truly pioneering path. In 1993, I opened the world's first interregional center for human microbiocenosis correction in Novosibirsk, making the practical implementation of a new medical paradigm. That same year, we established the world's first industrial production of a liquid probiotic based on the Lactobacillus acidophilus strain, creating a fundamentally new, highly effective therapeutic agent. In 1997, my monograph with dysbacteriosis in the 21st century first formulated and substantiated the revolutionary theory. This biasis is not a consequence, but a systemic cause of a wide range of chronic diseases. This work laid the foundation for a holistic medical philosophy of the future realized at that time, which considered the role of intestinal microflora as a key link in the flow of clinical manifestations and treatment of chronic diseases. First, let's consider the role of normal microflora in human life. Beneficial microflora participates in the formation of the immune system, synthesis B vitamin complex, vitamin K, C, PP, neutralizes food allergens, break down plant proteins to form amino acids, promotes the absorption of vitamin D, calcium, and iron, suppresses the development of putrefactive bacteria and pathogenic microflora, participates in the metabolism of proteins, fats, carbohydrates, bile acids, hormones, and more. These fundamental functions formulated in the 1990s are today a universally recognized scientific fact and are described in detail in modern clinical guidelines and reviews. Under the influence of unfavorable factors, chemical, food, alcohol, smoking, stress, antibiotics, this bacteriosis transitions from a compensated stage to a decompensated one, which leads to disruption of metabolism and the immune system, and as a consequence, toxemia and bacteremia develop, which leads to various chronic diseases. A diseased organ itself begins to producing toxins which aggravate disorders of metabolism, the immune system, and consequently dysbiosis. A vicious circle is created. Thus, the cascade described by us back in the 1990s from impaired barrier function and intoxication to systemic inflammation is today the central pathophysiological model explaining the link between dysbiosis and dozens of diseases, from chronic fatigue syndrome to allergies. Let's consider some of them. Dysbiosis leads to impaired peristalsis of the large intestine, and as a result, constipation or diarrhea occurs, which leads to the development of putrefactive and fermentative processes, and as a consequence to inflammation of the large intestinal mucosa to colitis. Dysbiosis leads to a decrease in immunoglobulin G, G2A, B and gamma globulins, as well as glycoproteins and lysozyme. Metabolism is disrupted, and as a result, hypovitaminosis and chronic indigenous intoxication develop. All this leads to immunodeficiency. This biosis leads to immunodeficiency and metabolic disorders. As a result, toxemia and bacteremia develop, which lead to chronic fatigue syndrome. Any infection that may join at this time aggravates the condition. This biosis leads to an increase in the number of histamine-producing bacteria, which deplete the enzyme diamine oxidase. As a result, an excess of histamine accumulates in the body, which uncontrollably stimulates mast cells. Simultaneously, as a result of immunodeficiency, triggers provoke an allergic reaction and the development of allergy. Immunodeficiency and allergy in this biosis lead to inflammation, hyperactive, and obstruction of the bronchi. The latter is intensified in consequence of an increase in immunoglobulin E and provoking factors, hereditary predisposition and triggers, which leads to the development of bronchial asthma. It is important to note that this specific cause and effect chains clearly linking this biosis with the pathogenesis of individual nosologies were presented and described in detail by us back in the 1990s. Active discussion and scientific recognition of such mechanistic connection in the global medical community began only recent years. Methods of treating various diseases have been developed and patented in Russia and USA. In the period from 1993 to 2002, this theory about significance of this biosis in the pathogenesis of chronic diseases was materialized into a series of patented clinical technologies, forming the world's first integrated protocol for correcting microbiome. The protocol included 3 stages. Since 1993, we used hydrogen solutions for the first time in the world for antioxidant protection and anti-inflammatory preparation of the intestinal mucosa, as well as for systemic detoxification of the recipient prior to transplantation. Today, we know that active hydrogen acts as a selective antioxidant, neutralizing the most cytotoxic reactive oxygen species, which reduces oxidative stress and inflammation, creating optimal conditions for the engraftment of new microbiota. We perform hydrogen deep liver tubages using duodenal intubation, hydrogen intravenous infusion, hydrogen irrigations of the large intestine, hydrogen inhalations, baths, wraps, hammam, hydrogen mud therapy, transplantation of intestinal omniflora activated by hydrogen. Conditioning, use of the world's first liquid probiotic narine for modulating microbial ecology. Radical restoration, development of a method for segmental transplantation of homogeneous and outer microbiota, Russian patent 1998, colonoscopic introduction of microbiota in the active log phase of its growth with preliminary non-contact hydrogen activation with topographic accuracy into specific sections of the large intestine, the cecum and ascending colon, which are natural sites of the greatest accumulation of normal microflora. From 1993 to the present, more than 70,000 patients with various diseases and diseases clusters described above have been treated in my clinic and its branch with positive results. We have 100 improvement and more than 90% recovery. A fundamentally important element here was the preliminary non-contact hydrogen activation of the transplant aimed at increasing the viability and metabolic activity of the transplanted consortium. The principle of enhancing transplant viability today lies at the heart of advanced scientific research on optimizing FMT. Creation of the world's first personalized bank of autochthons microbiota, Russian Federation patent 1919, US patent 2002. The essence of the bank is that after the birth of a child, within 1 year of life, fecal samples are collected, a probiotic complex of auto strains is prepared, lyophilized, and stored in the bank under the name of this recipient. If any diseases occur during life, it's biomaterial taken from the bank, activated and implanted in the colon. But today, you know, donor microflora banks are being created in various countries. But firstly, this is ineffective because each person's microflora is strictly individual, like this fingerprint. Secondly, it is dangerous because it may contain genetic information about various diseases of the donor. Today, we stand on the threshold of the next revolution, the transition from general probiotics to truly personalized next generation probiotics, created on the basis of autochthon strains of a specific person. The world's first bank of autochthon microbiota created by us in the late 90s was a prototype of this personalized precision medicine of the future. Thus, the full cycle of translational medicine implemented in the 1990s, early 2000s, from revolutionary theory through biotechnological breakthrough to unique clinical methods serves not only as proof of scientific priority, but also as a corresponding route map for genuine management of microbiomes in the treatment of chronic diseases. Full recognition and detailed study of those pathogenetic chains that we recorded then is happening only now, which once again emphasizes the forward-looking nature of the work carried out. In conclusion, I want to note that the human body is a single, complex, interconnected ecosystem that is inextricably linked with the environment, and everything inside it is built in the likeness of other biological systems. In particular, I compare a person to a tree, inside which all organs represent leaves and fruits, and the roots are in the intestines. The best natural fertilizer for a tree is the droppings, because there are billions of bacteria there that break down and prepare nutrients which are then absorbed through the roots and nourish the entire tree. Today, you know, in conventional medicine, one doctor sits on each leaf and tries to touch up, resuscitate his leaf. The tools for this are usually various potent drugs that temporarily paint one leaf, while 5-6 leaves around it turn yellow. If we nourish the roots of our tree with bacteria, as a gardener does when a tree begins to get ill, that is improve our microflora, then it will help us get rid forever of many chronic diseases considered incurable and live a long, healthy and happy life. Thank you for your attention.